Today, I want to share with you 3 simple closures for your junk journals. So let's get started. Number 1, I call this the Bulldog closure. Now, this is as simple as it gets. If your scrapbook journals or your scrapbooks are not heavily embellished like these are, then the Bulldog clip technique will work really well. In this case, this is a simple journal which was given to me by a friend, and I want to embellish it, but I do want to add a closure to it. And because it's not heavily embellished on the top, I thought, you know what, this is a perfect place to put a Bulldog clip closure on it. Now, these are the Bulldog clips that I'm talking about. And all you really need is some ribbon. Now, I'm always on the lookout for great ribbon, and usually I find them in stationery stores. And so if you have something that speaks to you and pairs very well with your journal, go ahead and use it in this technique. In this case here, in order to determine the length of the ribbon that you want to use, I would take the circumference of the book and double it. But then I would just pull it out just a little bit. So just maybe half of the width of the book, I would pull out just a little further than that. So I would do 1, 2. So you have wrapped this twice around the book here. You've left a little bit on the end there because you never know, you might end up embellishing inside the journal. So you want to make sure that you leave a little bit of room so that you can embellish on the inside of the journal. I'll just cut that off there. So again, you have double the circumference of the width of the journal there. And this is by far the easiest. All you have to do is pull this out, just like that. And then fold this in like this. Clip that on like that. Do that to the other side. And you want to fold that over like this. Clip that on. There. So you have, oops. There, so you have that situation there. And then what you do is you snake the ribbon through the holes of the Bulldog clips. It's up to you, you can snake it through both, which I think I will do. Just like that. So now you have this beautiful opening just like that. So, and that is your closure, and all you have to do is just tie it off. And that is probably one of the simplest book closures that you could ever use on your scrapbooks or journals. Now, if you do have a lot of embellishing on the top and you don't want to extend this across the top like this, there's another way you can do it. Here, I'm just going to show you with my scrapbook journal that I did for autumn. I created this journal with the Essence of Fall paper line, and it's fairly thick, as you can see. It has all these interactive elements of signatures and lots of embellishing on the inside. And so it got pretty big, but I find with a book like this, a Bulldog closure works really well. Because there's so much embellishing on the front, I thought, you know what, just placing your Bulldog clips in like this, and then just snaking, obviously, the ribbon through both ends like this, and tying it off. Is a really great way to embellish. I haven't completed the album, but if you're interested in how I created this and embellished it, I'll put a link to the playlist at the end of this video. So it's a great album that I think you would really enjoy creating. So yeah, I know it looks a little gaudy, but I'm thinking of trying to match this gold with this antiqued gold frame here. So wish me luck, and maybe I'll feature that in one of my videos should it work. Now the next closure I call the hitch post closure. But again, there's almost 2 closures in this mini scrapbook journal. I consider this box a closure because I love to add my mini scrapbooks into a little tickle trunk. I have to make sure that everything is contained, or else your project just gets ruined by it being thrown into this box. And so I like to keep things in little containers if I can, ideally acrylic ones. So here's another example of a closure. Very simple, just a box. But aside from the box, this is the mini scrapbook that I made for the holidays. But I'll put a link to how to create this one in the description box below as well. So you know how to create all this fun stuff. Over the holidays, I ended up creating cards as well to match the mini scrapbook. And I had cards left over from the holidays. So I thought, I'm going to turn that into a mini scrapbook. This is it here. It's actually a mini scrapbook journal with a signature in it that I had created. But it actually, with all the extra envelopes and cards, I just created this mini envelope card scrapbook journal. But again, I was like, oh, the closure, it's become an afterthought. So I'm going to show you how to create this hitch post closure. And all it is a large brad, you can see here, that I placed upside down into an eyelet. And what you do first is you glue the eyelet into the card base or into the cover of your scrapbook or your junk journal. Make sure that that's secured. So that is, as you can see, that's the eyelet there. So it's upside down. Stuck it through. And then I took a larger than usual brad. These are medium size. They're not the really tiny ones. And you stick it through the top there. So what happens is the post of the eyelet, as you can see, sticks out at the top of the scrapbook. And then you close that over and you've got this bumped up hitch post closure. And then what I did in the back here, so I said it was an afterthought. If you watch the video, I literally tear this this scrapbook journal apart, but I end up gluing the thread here through the envelope, and then I have that just sticking out. And I placed a little embellishment to keep it weighted, and there. That is your closure. So quite simple. Actually, this is how it happened. I have this beautiful deer and I wrapped it around his neck, snaked it through underneath the signature, and then actually had it snake through. Do you see that? In the back side of the signature, right through the envelope. And I did this situation here, which I thought was quite neat. If you're interested, I'll also put a link to this in the description box below. Should you go, hey, I have extra cards, I could actually make mini journals out of them. But yeah, I'll put that in the description box below for you too. So that is your hitch post closure. So this mini scrapbook journal that I did a few years ago, as always, I'm always over embellishing it, and I ended up needing a closure, but it's an afterthought. And I thought, gee whiz, what am I going to do? But if you'll notice, a lot of scrapbook paper and paper lines will come with labels or chipboard labels or tags with the holes in them already punched on the ends. And usually that's, for your gems or whatever, if you want to embellish a layout page. But I thought, why not use it as a mini closure? And all I did here was take some of that leather cord that they use for necklaces. I wrapped it around one side, pulled over here, wrapped it around the other, and then obviously knotted the ends off and really just used it as a way to hold my journal together or my scrapbook together. So here are some simple. So instead of 3, I guess I showed you 4. 4 simple ways of binding or closing off your scrapbooks or your junk journals. If you want more tips and tricks on how to jazz up your scrapbook journals, or even just how to create scrapbooks and junk journals out of stuff that you have at home, I'm going to put a list to my playlist because most of my mini journals are actually things that I have at home and I used to create these mini journals. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to create simple closures as an afterthought to your junk journals or your scrapbooks or your mini scrapbooks. Yeah, and I hope that inspires you to create. And if you want to see how I created a lot of these mini scrapbooks, I'll put a link to that at the end of this video. So have a fantastic week and we'll see you in my next videos. Bye.